and the vibration of all peoples together in a circle, telling the ETs that yes, we do want intervention if we are in trouble. Must really want to speak to the Andes to come up here, to speak to the mountains.
We are on the road.
Yep.
Let's go.
Whoa. And Ricardo goes to these places because he's trying to put pieces together to his own puzzle, to the puzzle of why he was contacted and why he was interested and why he had his first sighting. So he's intellectually curious. He wants to know why. So he goes to those places. If you want to be a researcher, you follow somebody like that. But he's getting instructions. He's getting messages, as he has during this odyssey that we've been on. The reason why I'm going to personally get involved with Ricardo's work on a meditative level is because it's around world peace. Ricardo is convinced that unless people come together, nothing is going to happen. And the vibration of all peoples together in a circle, telling the ETs that yes, we do want intervention if we are in trouble. And the fact that we can meditate on something worthwhile is not the same as sitting around and just asking UFOs to appear, which for me is very circus-like. I mean, it's very also disrespectful. Just show up and then we can say we saw one. And if I'm going to, in my old age, dedicate myself to something, I think I'd like to meditate on world peace. That's it for me, and that is why I support, and for the rest of my life, will support Ricardo Gonzalez in a very difficult vision he has. Because in order to do this, he travels some 20 countries a year. And ask us all to calm our minds and to use mantras, to ask the universe to alter a very dangerous timeline, and to ask that we all become one by modeling the behavior for world peace. I, by accident or chance, and I mentioned that before, was at a CE5 event in Durango, Colorado, and Rob was sitting at my table. He was sitting at my lunch table. And since we were stuck together for 6 days, I began opening up and telling him a little bit about my work. And Rob, who was already going along that line, he was already looking at doing documentaries, already involved with Mark, already looking at how he could present to the general public a version of a documentary that would have them understand not only the seriousness, but the beauty of making contact. So it was all by coincidence. Some years later, we met up at Joshua Tree, and they began discussing this project with me, and I said, if you really do this, I have someone for you who I consider 100% valid, but you need to know that he's valid, so the only way you could do it is you have to do the field research that I do, so let's follow this guy, and let him express what happens, and let him tell what the purpose of his research is, because Ricardo Gonzalez is a researcher too. So it was a nice mix. It all came together. We're a really good fit, and wow, I'm happy I said yes. Well, being here for the last 5 days or so, I had more questions than answers. In my research, and I've been doing this for 30 years, interviewing all the top level witnesses and whistleblowers and contactees and so forth internationally, I realize that this is a puzzle. And the only way that I can connect these dots is to do field research, which very few people do. Field research does not mean sit in your house, go on internet, and listen to what everybody else has to say. Field research means being uncomfortable and out of your comfort zone and having to be stuck in the Chilca Desert and being rescued twice and going up to 14,000 feet, and I have thalassemia, which is Mediterranean anemia, and having to live through all these uncomfortable situations. But There's no other way to know. I mean, you have to know by experiencing it and not being, afraid of the experience. So I really recommend to people, if you want to know the truth, go to the source. Read the book of the actual person. Go to the actual place and talk to people who knew the person, because a lot of the really great people are no longer with us. So it was outside my comfort. This was not a vacation. It was a research trip. You'll see frames of people really having a little bit of a hard time, but it's such a great satisfaction. So my recommendation to everybody is, when someone asks you to come with them to find an answer to your question, say yes. I've never ever done any documentaries. This is the first one I've ever done, and my heart is in this one because the combination of Rob Freeman and Mark McNabb going around the world with their company, making contact, is very, very beneficial to people who are at home and want to know how this all comes together.